calling in now from the Yellowhammer State. He is the co-founding member of my favorite band, the Drive-By Truckers, who are celebrating their 25th anniversary coming up like later this month. And we're so thrilled to have him here. It's Mike Cooley. How's it going, Mike?
I'm good. I thought we passed 25 a few years ago.
Oh, did you?
You're probably right. I'm terrible at keeping up with this stuff.
No, well, I got an email from y'all today because I've been on that mailing list since 2004, so I still get them.
I usually am wrong about these things, so go ahead.
So, I mean, we want to start out talking about the event that's coming up this weekend. Our friends at the Valley Labor Report podcast, along with the UMWA and all the good folks that are striking up there in Brookwood at the mine, they are having an event this weekend with you headlining, as well as our friend Lee Baines III, who I think we're going to be talking to tomorrow, actually, and
cool.
Couple of comedian friends of ours who've been on the show before, DJ Lewis and also Drew Morgan. And so, this it just seems like such a cool event. I was going to ask how you kind of got involved with the Valley Labor Report folks.
Well, Lee Baines actually reached out to me. He was already involved with it and wanted to get somebody else local, and I was honored. They thought of me. I think I was like one of the first names that came up. So,
that's perfect.
I was honored, and it sounds like a blast. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many protests have you played like this, if any?
Gosh, honestly, I don't know if I've ever played a protest.
You never popped up on the little webcam at Occupy Wall Street?
I've played in protest.
Oh, sure.
This is definitely the first union rally that I can think of.
I think it's very cool, and I should say I just got done listening to the new OK. I've had it on my to-do list for a while now, and I just wanted to say it's fantastic.
It's still on my list.
Oh,
one day I'm going to sit down and listen to this record all the way through. I've said that like 17 times now. I don't know. However many there are.
How do you feel about listening to like DVT or just your own stuff in general?
I don't unless we're going to play something we haven't played in a long time, or I can't remember the words right before a show or a sound check, and I'll pull it up on a streaming service and listen to enough of it to get it back in my head. But no, I don't listen to my own stuff. I actually listen to I listen to the stuff we were on, like the Booker T record we did, Booker T. Jones record. Yeah. That's one of my that and Betty LaVette are the only things I'm on that I actually listen to.
I was working at the college radio station at Auburn when that record came out, and I just remember seeing it was like Booker T and Drive-By Truckers are doing Hey Ya by Outkast. I think these are my These are my three favorite things coming together in a way that I was like, I didn't know they were making an album for me, but that's great. I'm so happy it's here.
Yeah. I heard that. I've actually heard that version on NPR like a few times. I think they use it in the morning pretty often as a segue, and it always catches me off guard. I'm going, oh, wait. Oh, that's not cool.
NPR is weirdly all about DBT. I remember hearing, I was delivering pizzas in like 2007 or something like that and listening to that show Marketplace, and they played the Buford stick as an interstitial.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, okay.
Stuff like that. If I hear something like that, because we don't play it. We haven't played it in years.
Right.
That's one I would have to, give a couple of listens if we were going to do it again. But that sometimes an entire song might play, and I may not recognize it at all. And my wife's going, "Did you not pick up?" No, I didn't.
Yeah, y'all.
Well, I guess with a catalog as vast as y'all, you might.
There are a lot of songs we don't really play that much that I do forget about.
Yeah, I think
because I'm not one of my playlists.
What is on your playlist? I think that'd be.
I don't have one.
No,
I don't have one. No.
What's
I don't do those. I don't even know how to do that. It's one of those things I haven't asked my kids yet.
Oh, okay. Well, what's in the CD binder? You know, what do you throw on? I
don't have one of those either.
No, don't listen. So is that the key to being a great songwriter? You're just not listening to anything. Just kind of coming through.
You don't pay much attention to it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, my friend Caroline wanted me to mention to you that she was very sad. Apparently, y'all played a show in Mobile probably 10 years ago, and everybody in the band went to karaoke afterwards, and she apparently missed out on that. I don't know if you're in the everyone category.
I was not at karaoke in Mobile.
Okay.
I've done karaoke and seldomly enough that I remember every single time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask. 'Cause, what's
that could have been that. Yeah, I remember we had a night off there once, and I came home. I drove to Birmingham and spent the night at my house, and then drove back the next day. So I wonder if it could have been on the night off when everybody went out.
Maybe,
but they didn't mention karaoke.
Okay. Well, you say you can remember the few times. What's the go-to Mike Cooley karaoke jam?
Oh, Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
I think I did Behind Closed Doors, which I covered on my live solo record too.
I just listened to that record, by the way. The Fool on Every Corner is fantastic.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that was my karaoke song in Amsterdam.
Oh man, I would. God, I'd kill to see that. That's
not a great performance. I think they gave me a cassette copy of it. That's how long ago it was.
That's a full benefits karaoke bar. They give you a copy of your performance.
The Dutch are thorough.
Wow.
They're a thorough people.
Speaking of never needing to hear your stuff again, do not play me any karaoke performance I've ever been involved with, ever.
Oh, no. That's a little too thorough.
I like the idea that they would cut the crowd noise out too, so you could hear yourself kind of making the drums in the air tonight. Oh man. Sorry, go for it.
Well, no, I was just curious to ask. So I think it's pretty obvious me and Rivers are pretty big fans, and I got on from Southern rock opera on, and then kind of went backwards and went forwards, and so you guys have been a band for 25 years. How long were you playing in bands before you joined Drive-By Truckers?
10 or 15 maybe.
10 or 15. Were you playing around Birmingham, or were you playing around Atlanta?
Some, yeah. In the 80s, actually the band Patterson and I had in the 80s played the Nick on Monday night.
Dude.
About
have you been to
3 times a year, maybe?
3 times a year? Have you been to the Nick recently?
Not. I did a little fundraiser show for them last fall.
Yeah.
Out in the parking lot, but I haven't been back since.
As far as I can remember, they still, the Nick is the Nick. They have that great.
Oh yeah.
But they have the best sound system. As I in Birmingham, I remember just being struck in that they have a great sound system.
That's the room itself actually, for what it actually sounds pretty good. It's one of the best sounding rooms in Birmingham.
like you wouldn't think it when it's right under
no, you
bridge.
Wouldn't. You really wouldn't. I mean, it's the room itself and the with the right PA actually sounds really good in there.
I actually have a very wildly specific question about Adam's House Cat, because Adam's House Cat was the previous band that you mentioned before Drive-By Truckers, and y'all released the one album that you did called Town Burned Down. I think 2 years ago, and it's incredible. I'm trying to tell all my kind of punk rock friends that are maybe not they like the more hardcore stuff. I'm like, Southern Fried Replacements. You got to hear it. It rules. But my question I had, we actually went to the premiere of your documentary, The Secret to a Happy Ending, when it came out, and they were talking about Adam's House Cat, and they showed this picture of you on stage playing a trombone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Drive-By Truckers.
Was that Drive-By Truckers? Okay, so
yeah.
I don't because I was waiting when I was listening to the Adam's House Cat record, because I was like, at some point Cooley's going to play the trombone, and it didn't happen. So I was going to ask when you bust that out.
I don't think I had enough of a sense of humor in Adam Southcat to pull out a trombone and play
it. So was that just like an instrument that you picked up, or was it from high school or something like that?
I played, I played in the high school band, like from 6th grade through 9th grade. 2 years of marching band,
Okay, which Strucker song do you bust out the trombone on? I gotta know.
I think it was Butthole, So
my God, please!
Of course,
y'all are coming back to LA in February. I'm gonna need to hear that.
God, I hope we're coming to LA. I hope we're going anywhere.
Yeah. It seems to. That's what I was going to ask too. So the new record. So touring starting back up and everything. It seems. Seems tentatively hopeful.
8 weeks and 2 days, but nobody's counting.
8 weeks and 2 days. Yeah, a couple of minutes.
Wow,
something like that.
Yeah.
So the new record is called The New OK.
It is.
It was a surprise release. Yeah, like nobody knew there was going to be a record.
Nobody told me.
well, we're happy to inform you today. It's
surprise.
They
told me I played on it.
Your album came out today.
Yeah.
But surely the pandemic and stuff, did that inform the writing, the lyrical content of this new record?
Some. But most of it was written, recorded pre-lockdown, except for the title track, I think. That and Watching the Orange Clouds, I think. But like I said, I haven't listened to it. I can't remember what's on it.
Well, it's very good, and it's kind of keeping in the tradition that's been the past few records of being a little bit more kind of explicitly political than y'all have been previously. But it's the interesting thing about it though is that like the thing that because I've always been like kind of like a little lefty shit stirrer type kid, and the thing that drew me to y'all's band aside from just like the sound of it was always the inherent political nature of the bands. And so it's very funny that people are just now like, when did they get all political? I'm like, I don't know how you can hear a song like Uncle Frank or Putting People on the Moon and not recognize that,
well, I mean, it was, I can kind of see that, I have a number of theories. I mean, I don't know if it was what was in the song so much as what we said in interviews. Because that was, in the past, I don't think we ever went out and did interviews where we talked about how political the stuff was. And it wasn't right in, it wasn't right in the moment. It was mostly political history, I'd say, previously. But I think it's because we just went straight out of the gate in every interview talking about exactly what we meant and exactly what was on our minds. And everybody was so hypersensitive. If we had never, I think we had never said this is a political record, and if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. I don't think anybody would have picked up on it. But
that's probably true.
And people who when they don't interpret things as political if they agree with it. Right. They only interpret it as political if it makes them angry or it pushes a particular button.
Right. And I guess coming from
if it's politics they don't agree with, it's when they interpret it as political.
Yeah.
That's or at least that's when they say, well, I just wish they'd keep the politics out of it, man. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel like that's a product of coming out of the South, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But it's also kind of funny that like I think that it might just be because in a lot of the earlier albums it's a storytelling and there's a bit of a distance to a lot of it. But the fact that people listening couldn't just infer like something, like a song like Uncle Frank, for instance, which is, totally applicable right now in 2020 about a guy who's lost all your 2021. Sorry. I'm so used to saying 2020 now. I keep writing it on all my checks that I read at the grocery store. But the fact that someone couldn't listen to that and just realize like, oh, just add this up to now. And it is absolutely a relevant song for whenever. It's like, that is not on the artist that you couldn't figure out the politics of this band.
Right.
So to me, it's
do you feel like it feels more radical for like Southern bands and bands that are like really like Lee does the same thing where he kind of like his sound is songs are very informed by the South, where he's like kind of like going through the history of the South, especially in particular like Birmingham, a place like Birmingham, and it's like, do you feel like it's like I don't know, more quote unquote controversial for Southern groups to come out and like be quote political, or
I don't know. I really don't know. I think I think people may get the idea. Well, especially if it depends on where you're coming from. You know, if you're coming from a more leftist or liberal or whatever someone perceives that to be, it probably catches them off guard because we're so stereotyped and pigeonholed these days. I am this, therefore I am of this tribe. And then when someone, is wearing a different uniform, it throws you.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, they're wearing shoes. How can they be leftist?
Oh man, I remember bands coming through to Birmingham and being like surprised at how nice the crowd was. It's like, what did you expect was gonna happen? Like,
like they heard about Sid Vicious getting the crap beat out of him, and
oh wait,
I don't know this story.
Well, I don't know it either, but it happened.
I hope it was the Nick.
Was it?
I don't know if the Nick existed quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look into that. I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it happened, but I don't know the story as far as the details of where they were playing.
Gotcha.
I mean, he was Sid Vicious, so he didn't have to come to Birmingham, Alabama to get his ass kicked. So I don't think that's probably irrelevant. Forget I brought that up.
He probably got his ass kicked in Birmingham, England.
Yeah. He could get his ass kicked in a room by himself.
Yeah, you have to get your ass kicked in all of the Birminghams. It's tic-tac-toe for that guy. Yeah,
but it's like especially like the Birmingham punk scene. It's like because they have like real punk scenes, and I think
I can kind of remember some of that.
Yeah,
they really
Yeah, I mean, it is. I just remember like these bands coming through to like little punk shows and being like, "Oh wow, you guys in Birmingham are nice." I think it's just like you said, like you find your tribe in whatever city it is, and
sure. I found too, urban is urban and rural is rural, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
That's really.
So
I mean,
true.
that's. I mean, well, it's not. It's not ignored, but that is the real divide. That's where it is, and it's and again it's the same wherever you go. You're in LA, you got to drive pretty far, but outside of LA, you're in Alabama, man.
Oh,
totally. Like you go to Bakersfield, and that is
rural. Yeah. Rural is rural wherever you are.
Yeah,
the only thing that changes is the accent.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we're both stand-up comedians who don't get booked in the big clubs in LA, so we know about Fresno for sure.
Yeah.
What were you saying about Bakersfield? Like this feels like
oh yeah, I was back home in Auburn with my visiting my folks for a couple months back in the winter. When I came back, they hadn't got their vaccines yet, and we heard that Bakersfield had a bunch of them to give out. So I got all my roommates. I was like, "Get in the car, let's go," and drove them up to Bakersfield. And yeah, it was the first time they'd been there, and we were just like, this feels like the Last Picture Show or something.
Sure,
It's crazy.
Sure. That was and that was one of the first things I noticed and learned. And when I first started traveling and going, from coast to coast a few times a year, was I was seeing most of the country looks like where I grew up. It doesn't look like it's not a cityscape at all.
Yeah.
Right.
So when anybody comes to Birmingham or Nashville and says, "Wow, man, I didn't expect the people to be so great." Well, I mean, we don't have to go far if you want to meet the people you were looking for. 10 miles in any direction, they're there.
Right.
Yeah. I can imagine. So I bet the same thing was true in Athens. That's where y'all all drive-by truckers met up, right? It was in Athens. Is that where y'all?
Yeah.
Well, but before that, and this is what I wanted to listen to, talk about. Speaking of local scenes, I want to talk about your time in my hometown of Auburn, because I think y'all had the kind of intermediary bands between Adam Southcott and Drive By Truckers. I've never heard. I don't know if there are recordings. I've never heard any, but I have to know about the two bands that you played in there, and then also with Patterson, and then there was also, I believe, the local White Bread as well. I kind of want to know what was the scene in Auburn, because I was like,
there wasn't one.
Okay, so it's still Auburn. Great, good to know.
Yeah. There are. I mean, this was early mid '90s, so it's I haven't been in several years, but no, it's never been it's never really been a typical college town in terms of the nightlife and the band scene and the Oh yeah, believe me, we had to drive to Athens to see y'all all the time, and we would just look around and go, "Why can't we have a quarter of this?" Hey, the only every now and then I don't know I don't know what's going on there now, but at that time, people having house parties was where that's where bands played, because most of the venues, the few that venues mostly booked cover bands and things like that. But it was the house parties. The couple little bands we got together played. Somebody would just have a party and invite friends and tell them to bring other friends, and you would play. That would
right. Did y'all ever tour with any of those bands?
No.
Oh, okay. It was always just
I mean, there's some of the more memorable names we never played a show under.
That's what I was. I think you intuited where I was going.
Yeah. Oh, I knew. Yeah.
I have to. I mean, yeah. I was like,
and I'm ashamed of that.
Yeah.
But nobody. There is no law anywhere in any country that says horse pussy can't sell merch.
Oh man!
Thank you so much for saying.
You could slap that on.
That's my retirement plan. That's my retirement plan.
To unearth the horse pussy demos.
Yeah. I'm ashamed of that. It's like that. That should have just been what we called a band that played one show. I just want a flyer.
Yeah.
But nobody says we can't sell merch.
How many shows
like?
How many shows did you play?
We didn't. Not a single one.
Okay. It's fair. I assume that had to have been either you or Patterson mentioning it in an interview, but it wound up on y'all's.
Oh, it's in the documentary. I'm not revealing.
Oh, that's
anything.
right. It is in the documentary. Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, how did it end up in the Wikipedia article?
Yeah. Hey, kids, here's my advice. Never agree to a documentary unless you're going to be dead when it comes out. Documentaries are for dead people.
That's words to live by or die by.
Yeah. And get somebody else to play you.
There you go.
Reenact. Well, I mean,
get somebody younger and hotter to play you, even if you're young.
We're adding lyrics to World of Hurt here. There's a lot of more secrets to a happy ending. It turns out.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Well, I was going to ask you this. This is kind of a silly question, but Drive By Truckers is probably the most well-traveled band of your era. I was listening to an interview with Patterson where he said, I believe you guys have played 47 out of the 50 states, just been all over. So we get into a lot of arguments about fast food on this show. And I was gonna ask you this, and this might be controversial. This might, I don't want anybody to jump off the DBT bandwagon because of this question, but I gotta ask you, Milo's, Culver's, Whataburger, or White Castle?
I don't like any of them.
No? What about In-N-Out? That was the other one I meant to throw in there.
I like In-N-Out way better than any of those.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. I love it. That's a.
Well, I mean, what White Cat? It was Crystal for me.
Right.
I know
right.
I've eaten. I've probably ate at that White Castle in Nashville, the only one in the South. I think it's been gone now for a while. I'm sure I probably
that one
knocked back a few there.
Yeah, that one in downtown, right? Like right off the highway.
It's right off. It was right off 65, I think.
Yeah.
It was one of the main exits, maybe Demondrian.
Yeah,
one of those two.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to hit all like four corners with like the Milos, the White Castle, Culver's, and in and out. But
well, I mean, I haven't given Culver's a fair shake. My son worked there for about a minute.
Oh, no kidding.
But I've eaten there once, and I remember it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. But.
My favorite thing, my friend Monica Scott told me she went to one in the Midwest, and they double check with you that you want. They're like, you're sure you want everything on it, because they hate flavor up there. So like you actually want all the stuff. It's like, yes, I want all the stuff on the burger, please.
I didn't even have to know where that place was based. I mean, it's like, man, you got somebody just opened a spray can of Midwest and just doused this thing, and I mean that in a good way.
Of course.
It's as Midwestern as some of the most Southern places are Southern,
So speaking of touring, and you're obviously not anticipating the new tour at all, right? Like you're not counting down the very seconds to the new tour.
Not in the last 5 minutes, but
yeah, that's a little reminder of the cruelty of the road, I guess. But yeah, so how long are you guys going out for? Did you say how long are you guys going out on tour? If should it happen, and I'm sure.
It's happening.
Yeah. I got the email this morning.
I know, yeah. It's,
No, I'm leaving.
Is this like your first big trip out of the house?
We start off, we kind of gradually break into it, but by this fall, we'll actually be touring for real.
Okay.
But late July is when we start going out and actually doing band stuff again.
Before this protest you're playing, what was your first show that you played out of quarantine, or have you played a show out of quarantine yet?
It's just solo shows.
Just like acoustic?
Yeah. Just me and a guitar. So that's all I've done.
Oh man. Well,
I actually had one guitar question too. Where did you get that green, strangely shaped Gibson guitar that you always play? I've never been able to figure out what that is.
But I bought it. I'm pretty sure I bought that one at a store in Winston-Salem years ago. I think I'd seen one before, maybe in a magazine or something. It is the ugliest thing,
I didn't want to insult your instrument, but I was.
God!
Every time you pull that out, it makes that line in Self-Destructive Zones about the shop is full of pointy, ugly, cheap guitars. Where I'm like, is that about this instrument in particular? That one's actually kind of cool. I mean, if you're getting right down to just pointy, ugly, god awful, they came up with it in the 80s. The 80s was pretty pathetic. Everybody was trying to keep up with the times, and the times sucked, and they weren't worth keeping up with. But even including Gibson guitars, they made some awful stuff, but so did car makers, so did clothing makers, so did everything makers. Me and America went through our adolescence at the same time. we were both going through our awkward phase at the same time. Yeah.
I'll tell you,
me and my country.
I hate to think what this phase is then, Lord.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people go through their adolescence now are like, God, this era sucks.
I know. It does. I mean, the only bright side is like, if the 1918 pandemic was followed by the Roaring '20s, at my age, I stand a pretty good chance of being dead before the Depression.
But hey, we're all
that's the bright side.
Well, we're going to be flapping our way out into the out these 20s, man.
Oh, you got to bring the trombone back and do some ragtime.
Yeah, really.
I was going to say, like, after listening to A Fool on Every Corner, is a great live record, by the way. So the first show you've been playing these solo gigs, man, people in that crowd are like whooping and hollering. I mean, it's like Live at the Apollo, James Brown, like everyone's like losing it. Like, were people losing it for these shows coming back in?
No, they finally chilled out a little bit. It took some doing, but yeah, that was the first. first year I did, started doing solo shows.
Yeah.
And I don't think the audience adjusted their volume level or their level of enthusiasm to match what I was doing dynamically. I think they came in for a drive-by trucker show, and it took a while for me to go, no, that's not what we're doing here.
Yeah. I was wondering, did you ever have to like kind of adjust them a little bit?
Yeah. You got to train your audience a little bit.
Yeah.
Corporate America calls it training your customers. They literally do. No kidding.
Oh yeah. I will say I was the designated driver this night, but I did see one of your first solo acoustic shows at the Work Play, and several of my friends got DBT level drunk for what was just a very beautiful, intimate performance. So sorry on behalf of my idiot friends. Because they were definitely the ones.
I learned.
Like, I know this one. It's like, shut up.
Oh yeah. I know. We learned early on that you can get more people in. You can sell more tickets if they're standing.
Yeah.
But they shut up a little more if you can get them in a seat. For some reason, the mouth and the butt are connected somehow or another.
Absolutely. That makes total sense.
I've done a couple of stand-up shows where the crowd was standing, and yes, unruly is the word for sure.
We love them.
Oh yeah, they're like so supportive. Like at one point, I think some guy goes, he's like, man, play that shit you want to play, and you're like, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank you, sir. I will dutifully do what I came here to do.
It's so funny, man. It just made me listen to it, made me miss live shows because it's like they're being so rambunctious, but it's like, oh man, just haven't had the pleasure yet since post-pandemic.
Yeah, you would almost think we just dubbed in like over the top crowd noise as a joke. Let's just see what this sounds like. Let's put Live at the Budokan's crowd on a James Taylor show.
They actually did that for Live at Folsom Prison when Johnny Cash says, "I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die." They added in the crowd going crazy for that line.
That used to be pretty par for the course on most live recordings. They would add some measure of audience. So, but
I always love that story because I'm just like, wait, you want them to think the crowd is all bloodthirsty killers? Like, yeah, you kill that guy.
Well, I'd imagine it's like the same thing with with y'all and like the Dexatines and like Lee Baines, where it's like it's such an outlet for some people. Because it's you know what I mean? Like it's like
me.
Yeah, like
I can think. I can think of 5 off the top of my head.
Oh man!
So I can imagine that's why people just lose it when they see it. It's like some of the most fun shows, because it's like people feel like they found their.
We hold the record for liquor sales in several venues. No kidding.
Wow. I think I was at a few of them. A few of them are called Jupiter Bar and Grill in Tuscaloosa. Been at a couple of those.
Wow.
Man, well,
and we're not buying any, so that doesn't even include us. That's just the audience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been seeing y'all since 2004, and some of those shows, I was just like, I don't know how they're alive, much less playing the best music I've ever heard. It was mind-boggling every time. So, well, yeah, let's say again, this Saturday. Saturday, May 22nd, you could see Mike along with our friends Lee Baines III and Glory Fires, and of course comedians DJ Lewis and Drew Morgan, who I think are going to be on our show later this week. They're all going to be at Strike Fest. All of the proceeds from this event are going to go to benefit the mine workers who are currently striking in Brookwood, Alabama, over in Tuscaloosa County. And if you can't make it to the show in person, you can go to youtube.com/The Valley Labor Report, and you can donate there. And you absolutely should, because these people are just trying to get a living wage for themselves and feed their families, and they need your help right now. So do anything you can as far as that goes. And Mike, I got to tell you, this was an absolute pleasure. And
Mike, me too. Thanks. Thanks.
So fun talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it again sometime, man.
Let's do. I'd love to.
Okay. We'll do this again in a year or something when you guys are coming back to LA. How about that?
Okay. Cool.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah, man. Again, a huge honor. Love your music, man. Seriously, like it's been just I don't know. "Women Without Whiskey" is one of my favorite songs. So
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. See you then.
Bye.
Take her easy.